Yes, I did it. I've upgraded my Cubase to version 14. $100 out of the window. Shoo. Was it worth it? We will figure out in this video. So welcome to the ground noise and my honest review about Cubase 14. Why honest review? Simply because I'm not sponsored or anything. I have no relation to Steinberg other than that I'm a Cubase user, a long-time Cubase user and a Steinberg customer. So I will point my fingers at problems with Cubase 14 and some little weird things that are going on there. But to be fair, if you're here for a rant, you will get disappointed because, spoiler alert, Cubase 14 is great. Some even say it's the greatest update for years. Well, I'm not sure about that because Cubase 10 was great, 11 was great, 12 was great, 13 was mediocre. But with 14, Steinberg thought, let's jump on the bandwagon of the latest trend and make Cubase great again. Sorry about that. So you can go to the steinberg.net website and study the feature list. I only want to mention a few things. As you might know, Cubase originally was made for the more like professional user and real musicians. That's what they are coming from. But over the years, of course, they want to make Cubase more accessible for the beginner producer and even totally uneducated musicians as well. And don't get me wrong, this is totally fine. I'm absolutely into that. I'm supporting that. And Cubase 14 is no exception. They are trying to make it easier to exchange projects and sessions when you're coming from other DAWs. And another feature I only want to mention very quickly is the new score editor. It's the big one. It's based on state-of-the-art Dorico technology, like they say here very pathetically on this promotion marketing website. Although they are right, Dorico is state-of-the-art technology when it comes to scoring. And now it's completely integrated into Cubase 14. So if you're on an old Cubase version and still relying on Dorico, maybe it's the right moment to upgrade. And here's a little fun fact about me before we get into the more interesting stuff. My first ever Cubase version was Cubase Score back in the 90s. And I remember it was basically like General MIDI with a score editor. And it was always super tricky to get the scores right. And this should be way more fun right now with Cubase 14 about 30 years later. And this is it. I mean, look at it. This is Cubase 14, and especially when you're coming from Cubase 13, it looks better now. Am I right? Is it only me? I think it looks way better. Small things, they changed the area here, I think, and also the font is different. It's way sharper now. I like it. I don't know how they did it, but it looks way more classy than Cubase 13. But another good thing about Cubase 14 is that I don't need to talk about Cubase 13 anymore. But enough of my personal ramblings here. Let's better talk about a very important question, of course. When you're upgrading a piece of software, it can mess things up, and you want to know, is everything working after the upgrade? And of course, all my plugins and my instruments are still working, and also all my settings are still where they belong. But now let's finally make some music, okay? I've made a very simple pad sound with Vital. It's nothing else than a saw wave and a filter. No LFO. Because when we click on the part and open the lower area, we can also do it like this with the button here, we have a new tab, Modulators. And now we can also use the modulators here for the track. And that's a really cool feature, of course. Let's go for a sine curve, or let's go for a triangle. And you can change the form of the triangle here until it's a square wave. You can also go to the square wave to see how it works. It's really self-explaining, no big thing. Let's create a short pulse, something like this, and also go for the quarter note maybe. And how can we connect it to the instrument? Very easy, just click here, add connection. And now the next thing, it's set to learn. Now the next thing you do, it will get connected. So we open the synth here and I change the filter and now it's already connected and you can fine tune it here, of course, and here, okay? So this is really easy to do, and once you've set up the connection, you can open the instrument from here, and also you can bypass the effect so that you can listen to the dry signal. So I make mistakes, everybody makes mistakes. I remember 1 year back when I've made the honest review about Cubase 13, I was excited and a bit confused, so I made 1 or 2 smaller mistakes. I got things wrong. Such things can happen, and so I watched some Cubase 14 reviews by other people here, and they also, some you can tell they are not really used to Cubase, and one guy wasn't even able to spot the triangle wave in the LFO modulator here, which is clearly on the 2nd position, but that's okay. I only want to point out that the modulators are not only connected to the instrument. So I can add another connection, or I can also open another LFO, and let's go here. Here's a triangle, right? Okay, now let's go with a sine wave here and also make it a little bit faster, like an 8th note. And now I can also connect it to like the panning of the channel. How cool is that? Maybe we go for like 50%, something like that. Oh, this is better. Of course, you could do the same trick before with the Auto Pan plugin. I often use the Auto Pan plugin, and yeah, I don't think that I need to use it anymore. But now let's check out some of the new effects. We have a new reverb. We all love reverbs. So this is a great addition. It's called Shimmer. And I think I play the part for you and just click through some of the presets. Enjoy. Yeah, I could do that for hours, but let's continue with the next great feature. Here's another vital part. It's more a sequencer part. Bum 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 bum. Okay, and when we listen to it, wait a moment. There are some notes missing, right? This is because the new feature, the play probability, you find it here, where you also normally set up the volume of the single notes. So you have also the play probability and some more stuff. So I gave it a probability of about 50%. And that's a great new randomizer technique we can use in our parts. And before I play it again, let's also add another new delay we have. We have plenty of very cool delays already in Cubase, but there is a new one. It's this one, the studio delay. And well, it's great. You see, you can change the distortion, and we do the same thing as before with the Shimmer plugin. Just let's check out some of the presets. I must say I really like this delay, and also let's add another shimmer. How cool is that? And together with the pad, okay, but now let's focus on another one of the really big features in Cubase 14. It's the new drum machine. And it's so much fun to work with it, I can tell you. And it's also so easy to do. It's really self-explaining. You just select a pad here and you choose one of the sounds, and you can change the sounds. And there is also a delay and reverb section, which is really cool and very good sounding. Like for drums, it's really good. But let me make one thing really clear. This drum machine is no replacement for all the other drum things in Cubase. All the old ways, I say, like you produced your drum parts before, like for example with the normal drum map and everything. Let me figure this one here, you know. And the old drum editor and also the drum agent, the groove agent here in Cubase, this is still more powerful than the new drum machine, okay? These are two different things and two different approaches to produce a drum part. So the new drum machine is clearly an addition to the great existing stuff. Another example would be that you want to record a live MIDI drum part, and I use Addictive Drums for my sounds and my own individual drum maps. And of course I often work with groove quantization and all sorts of tricks, you know, when it comes to my drum parts, and the drum machine cannot do that. But if you look at it as a traditional drum machine that it is, it's absolutely brilliant. I am sure that I will work with this all the time. It's perfect for me to make like quick tracks and good sounding drums, because it also comes together with the new pattern system here. It's like a sequencer for drums, and you can see it's really great, very well done. You could do that before as well, I must mention that. Before that we had the MIDI inserts and we need to go to the beat designer, and we had the beat designer and this is how it looked. And it's still there, of course, but you see the difference. This is the old way to do it and this is the new way to do it. And you can already see how it works, right? This is very self-explaining. I have pattern 1 here and I can set up pattern 1 or 2 because I've made a copy. I duplicated the pattern. So I had pattern 2 and I made changes to that pattern, and I can go to the parts here and change that, or I can delete that and I can just copy it in a normal way, or I just lengthen the part. So everything is possible. But the main question is, of course, how does it sound? There's always a bit rumble on my bass drum. And once again, together with the sequencer and pad. Yeah, and I think you can already tell that I have fun with Cubase 14. It's a feeling, it's a personal feeling, you know, it's a different feeling than I had when I opened Cubase 13. Let's talk about that one more time, one last time, hopefully. When I opened Cubase 13, it felt really weird. There are weird things in Cubase 14 as well. Let's talk about that in a minute. And of course, I don't want to ruin your day, okay? When you're happy with Cubase 13, it's totally fine. But for me, it just was different, okay? And this one, Cubase 14, feels really great. I feel at home. I don't have the feeling that I need to fight the program. So let's continue. All right, let's check out the bass track here. And you can see it's also made with patterns, because now you can also add a track, an instrument track, and you can choose between a pattern event or the old MIDI part. Most of the time for me, I think MIDI part is still the way to go. But here I tried some of the randomizer features, and this is a bit confusing when you make a melodic part like the bass part here, or you come up with a sequencer. You cannot set up the general key, I think. So you have to individually set up the single notes of the key. This should not be a big problem. Yeah, and another thing, before I forget it, let's go back to the drum part. You can also reduce the number of steps. For example, when I reduce the snare steps, that beat get lost, and also it's not like polymetric. What do I mean by that? Let me show you. In the sequencer of pigments, we can activate the polymetry, and now all the different parts like velocity, octave, and the probability can have different lengths. So when they run, they are overlapping and creating like polyrhythmic patterns. I've made a video about that, how you can spice up your ambient music. I've linked it in the info cards and in the show notes, of course. So, but you cannot do that in the drum computer here, in the drum machine. And this is really sad, of course. This would be a really great feature for a drum machine. But who knows what the future brings. And also, maybe I'm wrong and I just don't get it. We have another new filter here in Cubase. It's the auto filter. Let's add it to the bass part. And then listen to everything. And now, are you ready for some weird stuff in Cubase 14? And no, I'm not talking about Dolby Atmos, of course. There must be some Atmos functionality in Cubase, whatever, who cares? No, there are basically two weird plugins that I really don't understand. They are also being promoted like cool new features that I have to pay for, and I don't see why. So let's have a look. There's a new plugin called Volume. And somebody explained it to me. What is it? The website says, level up, control the volume of your track with the volume plugin independently of the fader. And it's only available in the Pro version. So somebody please explain it to me. Because we already have plenty of meters available and supervision and the mixing console and other ways to manipulate our audio signals to get them right. So I really have to watch for a tutorial or something. I don't get it. And another very just disappointing plugin is this underwater plugin here. When I heard underwater, I thought, oh wow, this is like underwater ambience and modulation and so on. No, it's just a very aggressive high cut filter. That's all. I mean, maybe you can make such drop noises or whatever. Maybe I can do something with that, okay, but you know, Cubase is a state-of-the-art DAW with a pretty hefty price tag, and I can expect a little bit more of a plugin that's called Underwater, you know what I'm saying? But this, of course, won't change my general opinion about Cubase 14. I must say it's a damn good update. It's much better than other updates we had in the past. And if you're still on an older version of Cubase, maybe it's the right moment to upgrade as well. That's totally up to you, of course, but when you're making this decision, I don't think that you will be disappointed. And when you're working on another DAW and you want to switch over to Cubase, that's a totally different story, right? I can't tell you much about that. Maybe you can check out the demo first. I think there is a demo available. And yeah, you always have a pretty steep learning curve in any program. But fortunately, I also have some beginner-friendly Cubase tutorials on my channel, which are still accurate, fortunately. So have a look around and please don't forget to leave a comment and a like and all that, okay? Subscribing to the channel is also a very, very good idea. And now I thank you very much for watching. My name is Marcus and I hope to see you soon in the next one.